The first thing to come back to me are the sounds. I can hear an alarm booming around me. The deafening sound makes me aware of the awful headache I'm experiencing. There's an intense pain in a particular spot in my forehead. Instinctively, my hand reaches up, and when my fingertips touch the top of my head, I feel something wet. Blood, I suppose. And the thought makes my eyes snap open, and I'm finally back to myself, back to reality, the urgency and tragedy of it all. My name is Captain Mathias Porter, and I'm the pilot of the spaceship Roman 2. The control panel shows me half a dozen alarms going off due to complications in the structure of the ship. I'm all alone, with my co-pilot nowhere to be seen. I'm bleeding. And when I look up, everything makes sense again. Our ship just went through a pretty deadly meteor shower. My co-pilot and I tried our best, but it was the most horrible and violent thing imaginable. Now, our ship is damaged. My partner is missing. I'm hurt. And there's one more wave of meteors coming right at me. The view is like a nightmare. Small rocks flying full speed at me like bullets. Bigger meteors that could split the ship in half if they reach us. My heart starts beating wildly in my chest, and I'm sweating through my uniform. Should I try to get through this storm? Is it even worth it when the ship's already so damaged? Where the hell is my crew? Why am I all alone? What should I do? A. Fly through the asteroids. B. Go look for my crew. Alright, let's do this. I'm the captain of this ship, god damn it. I have to get through this. I can do this. I check my harness, make sure all the controls are in order, make sure the ship is still capable of flying, and, content with what I'm working with, I decide to send a message through the speakers on the few seconds I have before all hell breaks loose. I clear my throat and address my crew wherever they are.
Attention! Attention, please. This is your captain speaking. God, I hope everyone is alright. Please, hang tight for a moment longer. This catastrophe is almost over. Stay safe, stand still, and I'll go find you as soon as I can. I'll get all of us out of here, I promise.
I end the transmission just in time for the best, or technically, the worst. The asteroids have reached me. I grip the controllers with all my strength. I grit my teeth and I put everything I have to fly this ship back to safety. It's just wild. Meteors coming from all angles. Rocks of all sizes coming at me. The small ones crash against the ship and make the most terrifying noises. I'm well aware one bad hit could mean the end. I make the Roman 2 swerve up and down and around the largest meteors, but the engines are failing. The alarms grow louder. I won't be able to push through any longer. I have to make a quick choice that will get the ship back to safety as quickly as possible. A. Brace the impact on one large asteroid to stop the ship. B. Go through one last shower of thousands of little asteroids. From what I can tell, most of the ship is very damaged. I won't be able to save a lot just by trying to avoid a few more asteroids. What I need is my crew. I stumble out of the cabin and run through the hallways as the first meteors collide with the hull of the ship. Vera! Carolyn! I yell desperately while the ship does the best it can on autopilot. Ryan! Hamish! Where are you? I don't get any answers except for the ominous cracks I hear coming from all over the place, as if a giant was crumbling the ship between their massive hands. The alarm keeps sounding. Red lights are blinking. Small pieces of the ceiling start falling apart every time there's a new crash. And then, a body. "Hey, Mish," I ask, even though my voice is barely a whisper. "Hey, friend. Wake up." I call him, but it's wishful thinking. Hamish was the second engineer on board. But now he was lying in the middle of the hallway, lifeless eyes open, body in a large puddle of blood, chest pierced by a large pipe that came off the ceiling of the ship. I feel nauseous. I'm shaking. This is much worse than I had imagined. The ship is falling apart. Meteors are still hitting us, and if we don't leave, we are going to die. If I don't leave right now, it's the end for me. I have to make a choice. A. Going for the escape pods. B. Looking for the rest of the crew. I locate the largest asteroid nearby. It's moving slower than the smaller ones. If I do this right, crashing against it will send the Roman 2 out of danger, and I calculated that one big crash was better than the damage of more bullet-like rocks possibly penetrating through the hull of the ship. I take a deep breath, focus on the target, maneuver the ship. 3, 2, 1. There! Everything blackens for a second. The sound of the crash is the loudest, most horrible thing I have ever heard. The lights continue to flicker for a moment, but then it's over. The engines are agonizing, and more alarms go off. The Roman 2 is drifting in space, but we are out of danger. Or so I thought.
Hello, can anyone hear me? It's your co-pilot, Vera Finnegan.
Hearing her voice through the speakers makes me gasp with joy.
I'm in the comms room. If there's anyone alive, please.
I can't tell if it is static or just her voice breaking. I can't decide if the comms room should be a priority over making sure the engines are still working. I have to make a choice. A. Go find my co-pilot. B. Go directly to the engine room. Let's go! I yell in the solitude of my ship as I face the meteor shower ahead of me. The engines scream as I make the ship dive forward. The rocks are too small to cause any major damage, but when there's so many of them, it's a reason to worry. The meteors crash against the ship, dozens of them every second. They graze the windows, knock all over the outside, pierce holes here and there. I groan and use all my strength to keep the ship steady. All my muscles strain, and it feels like countless daggers been thrown directly at my face. I'm in the eye of the storm 1 second, and then it's all over in the blink of an eye. The sudden silence is so powerful it hurts my ears. Silence? It shouldn't even be silent. I curse my luck as I stare at the panel in front of me. The engines went out. Fuck. I have to run to the engine room to fix them or get the emergency engine running. But then I hear her, like an angel, from above.
Hello, can anyone hear me? It's your co-pilot, Vera Finnegan. I'm in the comms room. If there's anyone alive, please.
It's Vera. She sounds terrified, and I could use her help, but I don't know if I can afford a detour to the comms room. There's no time. My decision must be quick. A. Go find my co-pilot. B. Go directly to the engine room. For all I know, the rest of my crew is dead. I will be too if I don't leave this sinking ship as fast as I can. I hope that any surviving members of my crew would have thought the same as me and made their way to the emergency shuttles. I'll will my brain to shut up and avoid thinking about everything I'm leaving behind. Everyone I could be abandoning. No, I can't think like that. I have to save myself. If they're alive, they would do the same. However, my problems just got much worse. I reached the escape pods, and they aren't working. God damn it! This couldn't get any worse. I slammed my hand against the black screens that refused to light up at my command, but I can't give up. Maybe I can fix the systems, if I can get hold of supplies in the storage room. Then my thoughts are interrupted by a familiar voice coming through the speakers of the ship.
Hello, can anyone hear me? It's your co-pilot, Vera Finnegan. I'm in the comms room. If there's anyone alive, please.
Vera! I exclaim happily as if she could hear me. The comms rooms. I should go find her. But we couldn't leave either way until I find those tools in storage. I just need to decide what to do first. A. Go find my co-pilot. B. Go find supplies. I still can't believe Hamish is dead. I need to find the rest of my crew. I have to make sure they're safe. Maybe if I can reach them on time, I can avoid another tragedy. Vera! Carolyn! Ryan! I yell again and again. I stumble through the hallways. The ship shakes all around me. It's falling apart. It could be the meteors hitting us. It could be something worse. My voice is growing hoarse and I'm trying my hardest not to expect the worst, but then I reach the infirmary. The place looks like it collapsed in on itself. I'm guessing a pretty big meteor crashed right outside this part of the ship. It's a miracle there isn't a complete crack in the structure, but nothing qualifies as good news when I'm staring directly at a tragedy. Everything in the infirmary, the shelves, the lights, the equipment, pieces of the ceiling had fallen down, and a big part of it is currently crushing under its weight. The body of the doctor of the crew. My friend. Carolyn. I whisper her name and kneel in front of her. My heart breaks, because even as the light leaves her eyes, she manages to smile at me.
Escape, Mathias. Run.
She tells me. It's barely a whisper, and it almost gets lost completely under the sound of destruction around us. Carolyn exhales for the last time. I wipe the tears that fall from my eyes, and the moment is interrupted by a message coming through the speakers.
Hello, can anyone hear me? It's your co-pilot, Vera Finnegan. I'm in the comms room. If there's anyone alive, please.
So, one more of us is alive. Is it worth running in the direction of inevitable heartbreak? Should I listen to the last words of my friend and try to fix this ship before it's too late? A. Go find my co-pilot. B. Go check the engines. As I run to the comms room, my headache worsens, and when I wipe the sweat off my forehead, I find dried blood too. I'm also acutely aware that if we don't fix the ship soon, it could break down for good. We could run out of oxygen. We could stay lost in space without a way out. But when I arrive at the communications center, I find a last shred of hope. My co-pilot and friend, Vera Finnegan.
Mathias!
She exclaims my name and hugs me, but we both wince in pain. When she moves away from me, I notice that she's limping, and also holding her left arm to her stomach as if moving it would hurt. "Did you send the distress signal?" I ask her. Vera nods and gestures at the screens in front of her. When I get close, I see that she sent many distress signals, but there's more. From here we can read a lot of the ship's stats, and to say they're bad would be an understatement. Both engines stopped working, yet there's a strange level of heat there that could mean a fire, which would easily make it all explode. The ship is falling to pieces. There's no denying that. We have to check the engines now, I decide.
And see if there's anyone still alive.
Vera insists. There's a tense silence, where I think about what I've seen so far. Everything we've lost. So, what should we do first? Or should we split up? I ask her. It's time to make a choice. A. Splitting up. B. Going together. This time I push my body to move faster. My feet are loud on the metallic floor now that the hits of the meteors have stopped. My heart beats as frantically as the alarm's still going off in the background. The names of every member of my crew are in the forefront of my mind, but I've convinced myself that this is the best thing for all of us. I need to get to the engines. This tragedy, however, doesn't seem to end, and destiny is taunting me, because when I pass by the cargo bay, there's another body. Ryan is the first engineer on board, and his death is going to make my chances of fixing the ship and surviving to tell the tale much smaller. But he isn't dead yet, is he? He must have been running from something, or running toward the comms room after hearing Vera's call. But in this place, it isn't about the ceiling falling down. It's the floor beneath Ryan that caved in as the structure of the ship warped and twisted. He's hanging at the edge of the crater in the center of the bay. He looks sick and desperate, and a stream of blood is oozing from his gaping mouth. I can only see his face and one of his arms, but whatever is underneath can't be in a good state. No, Ryan mumbles as I start moving away from him. No! He yells desperately, agonizing, but I can't stop for him. I can't. He's a lost cause. I need to save myself. I need to do something. If I can fix things, I can come back for him, but... A scream. A frightened, horrified scream stops me in my tracks. It's not Ryan. He's gone limp in the hole in the ground. It's a woman. It's Vera, my co-pilot that I ignored. She's still alive, and in desperate need of help, it sounds like. Can I afford the risk of trying to save one person? Is the priority just making sure we'll get out of here? What should I do? A. Follow the scream. B. Insist on reaching the engines. As I scurry down the hallways of the ship, I can't shake off the feeling that splitting off was a terrible, terrible idea. We don't know what dangers can be found in a broken ship. It's unlikely that anyone else is still alive. What if we can't fix the engines? What if we can't find the tools to repair the escape pods? Desperate times call for desperate measures. But now we're apart and... My thoughts came to a halt when a door opens for me, and I have to scream. Try to cover my face with my arms, and I recoil away from it so suddenly I fall to the ground. What's in front of me is actual hell. An inferno. The crew's quarters have caught fire. The flames are licking up the walls and eating everything in their path. I know what this means. I know that as soon as the fire catches the right spot, everything will blow up. We can say goodbye to the Roman II and everything and everyone inside it. However, seeing the ship fall into pieces has given me an idea. Without our 2 engines working, I can't pilot the ship back home, but maybe the emergency engine could support a small part of the ship. It's a last resort. It's the last thing we're supposed to do as pilots. The thing to do when no one else can save us. And it's in my hands alone. With a great roar, the fire grows in size and violence, and flames lick their way out of the crew quarters. I have to scramble to my feet and run away as fast as I can, feeling my face heat up, possibly burned. The hallway splits in 2 ahead of me, and I feel my entire soul break in half as well. But I have to make a choice. A. Save myself. B. Find my friend to escape together. Vera and I hurry through the hallways of the ship, and I have to grit my teeth and clench my jaw in an attempt to stay calm. I'm scared. I'm absolutely terrified of what's going to happen to us. Vera can't even move fast because of her limp. We haven't found anyone else still alive. We hear nothing but the sound of our own doom as the ship continues to break down. I'm gathering all my courage to try to convince her to take our very last resource and escape this hell once and for all without looking back. But that's when we enter the storage room. That's when this worst-case scenario becomes even worse. It becomes a nightmare. Vera enters the room first, and the lights don't turn themselves on. I hesitate by the door, convinced that this is just part of the collapse of the systems. But when the lights start flickering above us, I look up, and my breath escapes my lungs. There, on the ceiling, I can see. I see. What the fuck is that? A scream makes me look forward again, and then it's my turn to scream as I watch another one of those creatures, this time falling right on top of Vera. It's like a giant spider, a monster with a tortoise-like carapace, and countless limbs emerging from it, moving frantically as if each was holding a dagger and stabbing at my friend's face. I've never seen anything like this. I realised at the start that it could only have come from the meteors that crashed against our ship. I look forward desperately for a weapon, and I can't think of anything better than pulling a fallen pipe that had been barely hanging onto the wall. When I turn around, one of the monsters jumps at me, and I'm lucky to swing right on time to throw it from me. But the scene in front makes me shiver with fear again. Vera! I yell her name. 2 or 3 more monsters have fallen on her. She tries to push them away with both arms, and I realise her arm was okay, but she had been holding her stomach to hold back the wound there that I can now see is bleeding profusely. These monsters aren't so strong. The one I hit with the pipe looks half dead, but so does Vera. I could do something. I can't decide what to do. A. Abandon her. B. Try to save her. I see the doors of the engine room like the gates to heaven, like the light at the end of the tunnel. Everything I've done, every choice I've made is going to be worth it if I manage to restart the engines and take all of us home. I can save the surviving members of my crew. I can make up for ignoring warning signs and cries for help. I can do this. I kick the door open and look around. My breath is ragged and I'm shaking with adrenaline, but I'm ready to work. The room is huge. There are a few doors on the side that lead to other parts of the ship, and the stairs in front of me that will lead me down to the engines. First, I have to prepare the controls on the panel beside the door. I put all my focus on it and ignore the lights flickering above me. I can feel something's wrong, but I have a clear goal and nothing will stop me. I'm so close. I can feel victory at the tips of my fingers. I just have to go downstairs to manually activate the engines. But when I turn around, I'm attacked! Some kind of creature jumps right in my chest. I scream and push it away from me. It lunges at me again, but this time a swift kick sends it flying away and over the railing, down to the lethal pit of the engines. I can barely breathe. It was like a huge spider with a protective carapace on its back and a dozen horrendous limbs coming out of it. What was that? Where did it come from? The meteors are the only answer that occurs to me. A noise to my right pulls me from my reverie, and I find that another monster just fell from the ceiling. This time I try to run away from the stairs, but right at the top of it, another creature falls on my back. I yell in pain as the monster's appendages pierce my skin. I yank it away from me and over the railing of the stairs, but when I keep moving, two more of the beasts attack me. This time I stumble down and fall from the stairs. I think I'm going to die. I think I managed to get one of those creatures away from me. By the time we reach the bottom of the stairs, everything hurts and I know I'm bleeding, but nothing compares to the feeling of looking around me and seeing 3 more monsters on the platform ahead, and dozens of them spread over the ceiling and walls. No, 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 no! I screamed desperately. I was so close. Suddenly, there's another voice screaming.
Mathias!
She says, "It's Vera, my co-pilot. She's at the top of the stairs, covered in blood and holding a pipe to defend or attack these beasts around me." "Stop! Vera, don't move," I tell her, before I realise what I'm asking. One of the monsters is attached to my leg. 3 are approaching me. I'm barely keeping one of them away with my hand, but I realise this is a breaking point. I can let Vera try to save me, impossible as it might seem, or I can make sure that her and everyone else on this ship gets a chance at saving themselves. I have to decide. Now. A. Beg for help. B. Sacrifice myself. I start running, and I already feel like I've lost my mind. I feel the ghost of the fire burning my back, chasing me, reaching out for me with a fiery hand. It's like I'm escaping hell, but I shouldn't be able to. It doesn't feel fair, does it? As I run, I have to jump over holes in the floor, fallen equipment, avoid leaking pipes, and ignore a lot of things. Is that the sound of my friends screaming for help? Is that an animal screeching in the dark corners of the dying ship? Is it just me, screaming and crying as if I wasn't the only one about to be saved? I kick down walls. I push rubble away. I convince myself that the shadows moving behind me aren't aliens invading the ship, and I finally reach the pilot's cabin where this nightmare started. There are tears streaming down my face, but I'm not shaking. When I start pressing the necessary buttons, I do it with fury. I use the last remaining strength I have and angrily push through. The confidential code, the right levers, the red buttons, the voice command. The ship responds immediately.
Captain Mathias Porter, are you sure you want to initiate the disassembling mechanism of the ship? This action is irreversible and will leave the rest of the Roman 2 completely disconnected from...
Yes! I exclaim. Yes, I'm positive.
Command confirmed.
The computer tells me. Immediately, I hear the noise of the great locks and bolts that keep the ship together coming apart. There's a great tremor through the entire thing as the pieces are finally pulled apart from each other. It's done. It's over. Separation complete. The fire, the death, the damage, the risks, they're all gone. But so is everyone else I started this journey with. This time my hand is shaking badly when I press one more button. Computer, start the emergency engine of this section of the ship. I speak the order with a frail voice, but I'm understood.
Emergency engine activated. All systems stabilized and ready to go.
The computer tells me cheerfully, because she has no conscience over the lives she left behind. I can't tell how much time passed between hearing those words and when I actually pulled myself together enough to fly this remaining piece of the Roman 2 back to Earth. I'm not sure if my heart is still beating. I can't stop to look at my wounds. I can't erase the names of my friends from the front of my mind. Vera, Carolyn, Ryan, Kamal. Everyone that was sleeping in the crew quarters when the fire started. Their names are forever engraved on my mind. The horrors of this trip will never let go their grip of me. I'm sure of it. I'm not sure if, by the time I get back home, I will ever be able to look myself in the mirror again. But I'm safe. I'm alone, but I'm flying myself back home. And the silence of infinite space will have to heal me. Vera and I fight for our lives with everything we have. We managed to get a second, and then a third pipe pulled from the walls around us, and with it we defend ourselves from the monsters. These creatures are hungry. They're unknown to us, but they aren't that strong, luckily. The shell might keep them safe in space. Maybe they didn't come in the meteors. Maybe they were some of the small rocks that flew right at us. But under the shell they're fragile, and a good hit can leave them writhing on the floor. The problem is that there were so many of those disgusting little beasts. Vera and I punch, kick, and hit, and we yell and cry the entire time. I hear chitin shattering, blood splattering every surface, clothes torn apart, and with a final burst of desperate strength, we cross to the door and lock those creatures behind us. When Vera and I stumble back out to the hallway, I can barely believe our luck. Technically, to end up in this situation, it takes the worst luck in the universe. But having each other, having someone that would care this much, someone willing to fight till the very end for the other, I can't imagine any better luck than that. Vera's limp has worsened. I think she might lose her leg, and her abdomen keeps bleeding. I'm seriously struggling to breathe. It's too painful to move my right arm, and I feel blood trickling down everywhere in my body. But we're alive. God damn it, we're alive! There are 2 pieces of those monsters on our bodies. The ship is breaking down and burning, but the 2 of us slowly make our way to the observation deck. It's not the most useful place in the ship, but it seems like the last safe space still standing. Once there, we put on our suits, mostly to cover up the awful reality of our wounds, but also in preparation for the imminent loss of oxygen when the systems of the Roman II collapse for good. From the panel on the side of the ship, we can see countless cracks, consequence of the meteor shower, but because of its location, it didn't receive the worst of it, and it's still standing. Vera and I sit down there and stare out at the endless darkness in front of us. The countless stars in the distance, giant planets that look like little dots from our perspective. The magic of it all. Would our deaths make a difference in the grand scheme of the universe? Maybe not. But I'm still glad that we fought until the end. To us, it made the entire difference. Now it's just a matter of waiting. For death caused by our multiple wounds. For the monsters, the fire, or the ship's destruction to kill us. Or maybe for the response to the distress signal that Vera managed to send. There's nothing else to do now but wait for the end. Go away, Vera, I yell at the top of my lungs.
No!
She yells right back at me, but a monster jumps at her. She swings the pipe at it and sends it flying away, and there's more and more going at her. The one I'd been holding away from me I throw down the stairs. She yelps and steps back, desperately trying to fight back at the creatures and calling my name. but I can't let her get close. She would die. This would all have been for nothing. Stay back, Vera! Save yourself! Use the emergency engine! Get out of here while you still can! I scream desperately. I throw one more monster at the stairs toward Vera. She's still screaming my name, but she's stepping away from me, closer to the door, closer to salvation.
I can't leave you!
She yells. It's the only way, I reply. Then I try my hardest, use every last bit of strength I have, and I stand up. The monsters fall off me for a moment, and they gather at my feet, trying to climb up, trying to stop me, but I push forward. They bite, they claw, they stab at me with their dozen sharp little limbs, but I grit my teeth and I keep myself from screaming. Not until I reach the railing of the platform. My heart is racing, my head aches. I feel dozens of little limbs pulling at me, tearing me apart. My co-pilot is still screaming for me in the distance, but I can't afford to lose any more lives and do nothing about it. Save yourself, Vera! I exclaim as loud as I can, and then my voice is reduced to a whisper. Please. The next thing, the last thing I can do, is gather as many creatures as I can, and I launch myself over the railing of the platform. The fall isn't too long. It's only long enough for me to wish one last time that this works. The engines will explode, the creatures will die along with me. Vera will be safe, and